हेलो दोस्तों, बिगनर्स पॉइंट में आपका स्वागत है। और अभी हम कर रहे हैं इकोनॉमी का पार्ट 3, चैप्टर 3, पॉवर्टी हैज़ अ चैलेंज। इससे पहले की वीडियो नहीं देखी है तो फिर प्लेलिस्ट बना दी है, वहाँ पर जाकर देख सकते हैं। ठीक है, ऐसी लाइन वाइज आएंगी, 9th, फिर 10th, फिर 12th और फिर नेक्स्ट पॉलिटी वगैरह की। ठीक है, तो एक प्लेलिस्ट में एक सब्जेक्ट आ जाएगा पूरा, 9 से लेकर 12 तक का। तो एक साथ बाद में भी देख सकते हैं, अभी भी देख सकते हैं, जब मन करे तब देख सकते हैं। ठीक है, poverty has a challenge. This chapter deals with one of the most difficult challenge faced by independent India, poverty. ये जो चैप्टर है इससे बात करेंगे हम, जो सबसे ज़्यादा डिफिकल्ट चैलेंज है हमारे सामने जो फेस कर रहे हैं वो क्या है, पॉवर्टी, यानी कि गरीबी। After discussing this multidimensional problem through examples, the chapter discusses the way poverty is seen in social sciences. Poverty trends in India and the world are illustrated in through the concept of the poverty line, causes of poverty as well as anti-poverty measure taken by the government are also discussed. The chapter ends with broadening the official concept of poverty into human poverty. Introduction. In our daily life, we came across many people who we think are poor. They could be landless, laborers in village, or people living in overcrowded jails in cities. They could be daily wage workers at construction sites or child workers in dhabas. They could also be beggars with children in tatters. We see poverty all around us. In fact, every fourth person in India is poor. हर चौथा आदमी क्या है, गरीब है। This means roughly 270 million or 27 crore people in India live in poverty 2011-2012 के according. This also means that India has the largest single concentration of the poor in the world. This illustrates the seriousness of the challenge. Two typical cases of poverty. Urban case. 33-year-old Ram Saran works as a daily wage laborer in a wheat flour mill near Ranchi in Jharkhand. He manages to earn around 1500 a month when he finds employment, which is not often. The money is not enough to sustain his family of six, that includes his wife and four children aged between 12 years to 6 months. He has sent money home to his old parents who live in a village near Ramgarh. His father, a landless laborer, depends on Ramsaran and his brother, who lives in Hazaribagh, for sustenance. Ramsaran lives in a one-room rented house in a crowded basti in the outskirts of the city. It's a temporary shack built of bricks and clay tiles. He, his wife Santa Devi works as a part-time maid in a few houses and manages to earn another rupees 800. They manage a merge meal of dal and rice twice a day, but there's never enough for all of them. His elder son works as a helper in a tea shop to supplement the family income and earns another 300 rupees, while his 10-year-old daughter takes care of the younger siblings. None of the children go to school. They have only two pairs of hand-me-down clothes each. New ones are bought only when the old clothes become unwearable. Shoes are a luxury. The younger kids are undernourished. They have no access to health care when they fall ill. Lakha Singh belongs to a small village near Meerut in Uttar Pradesh. His family doesn't own any land, so they do odd jobs for the big farmers. Work is erratic, and so is income. At times they get paid 50 rupees for a hard day's work. जब कठिन दिन होता है काम करने का तो 50 रुपये से मिलते हैं. But often it's in kind like a few kilograms of wheat or dal or even vegetable for toiling in the farm through the day. The family of eight cannot always manage 2 square meals a day. Lakha lives in a kocha hut on the outskirts of the village. The women of the family spend the day chopping fodder and collecting firewood in the fields. His father, a TB patient, passed away 2 years ago due to lack of medication. His mother now suffers from the same disease and life is slowly ebbing away. Although the village has a primary school, Lakha never went there. He had to start earning when he was 10 years old. New clothes happen once in a few years. Even soap and oil are a luxury for the family. Study the above case of poverty and discuss the following issues related to poverty: landlessness, unemployment, size of families, illiteracy, poor health, malnutrition, child labor, helplessness. These two typical cases illustrated many dimensions of poverty. They show that poverty means hunger and lack of shelter. It also is a situation in which parents are not able to send their children to school, or a situation where sick people cannot afford treatment. Poverty also means lack of clean water and sanitization facilities. It also means lack of a regular job at a minimum decent level. Above all, it means living with a sense of helplessness. Poor people are in a situation in which they are ill treated at almost every place: in farms, factories, government offices, hospitals, railway stations, etc. Obviously, nobody would like to live in poverty. One of the biggest challenges of independent India has been to bring millions of its people out of abject poverty. Mahatma Gandhi always insisted that India would be truly independent only when the poorest of its people become free of human suffering. Poverty has seen by social scientists. Since poverty has many facts, social scientists look at it through a variety of indicators. Usually the indicators used relate to the levels of income and consumption, but now poverty is looked through other social indicators like illiteracy level, lack of journal resistance due to malnutrition, lack of access of health care, lack of job opportunities, lack of access to safe drinking water, sanitization, etc. Analysis of poverty based on social exclusion and vulnerability is now becoming every common. सी बॉक्स. जो भी है इसमें ये कह रहा है कि पॉवर्टी जो हम देखते हैं किस किस बेसिस पर देखते हैं कि खाने को खाना है, पानी पीने को पानी है, जॉब है नहीं है, न्यूट्रिशन जो है वो सही तरीके से मिल रहा है नहीं मिल रहा है, ये सब तरीके हैं. Social exclusion. According to this concept, poverty must be seen in terms of the poor having to live only in a poor surroundings with other poor people, excluded from enjoying social equality of better off people in better surroundings. Social exclusion can be both a cause as well as a consequence of poverty in the usual sense. Broadly, it is a process through which individuals or groups are excluded from facilities, benefits, and opportunities that others, their betters, enjoy. A typical example is the working of the caste system in India, in which people belonging to certain castes are excluded from equal opportunities. Social exclusion thus may lead to, but can cause more damage than having a very low income. Vulnerability Vulnerability to poverty is a measure which describes the greater probability of certain communities, say members of a backward caste or individuals such as a widow or physically handicapped person, of becoming or remaining poor in the coming years. Vulnerability is determined by the options available to different communities for finding an alternative living in terms of assets, education, health, and job opportunities. Further, it is analyzed on the basis of the greater risk these groups face at the time of natural disasters, earthquakes, tsunami, terrorism, etc. Additional analysis is made of their social and economic ability to handle these risks. In fact, vulnerability describes the greater probability of being more adversely affected than other people when bad time comes for everybody, whether a flood or an earthquake or simply a fall in the availability of jobs. Their poverty line at the center of the discussion on poverty is usually the concept of the poverty line. A common method used to measure poverty is based on the income or consumption levels. A person is considered poor if his or her income or consumption level falls below a given minimum level necessary to fulfill basic needs. सबसे ज़्यादा ज़रूरत क्या है? बेसिक नीड्स का पूरा होना। ठीक है, खाना पीना मिल रहा है, ये सब जितना भी होता है। What is necessary to satisfy basic needs is different at different times and in different countries. Therefore, poverty line may vary with time and place. Each country uses an imaginary line that is considered appropriate for its existing level of development and its accepted minimum social norms. For example, a person not having a car in the United States may be considered poor. In India, owning of a car is still considered a luxury. While determining the poverty line in India, a minimum level of food requirement, clothing, food fare, fuel and light, educational and medical requirement, etc. are determined for substance. These physical quantities are multiplied by their prices in rupees. The present formula for food requirement while estimating the poverty line is based on the desired calories requirement. Food items such as cereals, pulses, vegetable, milk, oil, sugar, etc. together provide these needed calories. The calories need var- vary depending vary depending on age, sex, and the type of work that a person does. The accepted average calorie requirement in India is 2,400 calorie per person per day in rural area and 21,000 calorie per person per day in urban areas. Since people living in rural areas engage themselves in more physical work, calorie requirements in rural area are considered to be higher than urban areas. The monetary expenditure per capita needed for buying these calories requirements in term of food grains etc. is revised periodically taking into consideration the rise in prices. On the basis of these calculations for the year 2011-12, the poverty line for a person was fixed at rupees 816 per month for the rural areas and rupees 1000 for the urban areas. Despite less calories requirement, the higher amount for urban areas has become fixed because of high prices of many essential products in urban centers. In this way, in the year 2011-12, a family of 5 members living in rural areas and earning less than about 4,080 per month will be below the poverty line. A similar family in the urban areas would need a minimum of 5,000 per month to meet their basic requirements. The poverty line is estimated periodically, normally every 5 years, by conducting sample surveys. These surveys are carried out by the National Sample Survey Organization (NSSO). However, for making comparisons between developing countries, many international organizations like the World Bank use a uniform standard for the poverty line minimum availability of the equivalent of $1 per person per day. अब ये करेंगे पॉवर्टी एस्टिमेट कैसे करते हैं कल, ठीक है।